Hello, this is Raphael Freeman from Running Our Typesetting, and in this video we're going to talk about kerning. So when I learned kerning at university, the example we were given was the title of the book War and Peace. And here I've typeset War and Peace in 4 different fonts: Minion, Arno, Bembo and Palatina Nova Pro. And as you can see, the space between the W and the A, which is always the problematic space, is different. If we look in our character panel, in Minion, we have a space of -123. It's been built into the font. It's okay. I might have done a little bit more. In Arno, it's -49. Looks fine. I also done a little bit more. Bembo, -100. I'd have done a lot more. It's obviously a very visual thing. And in Bembo, it's on Palatino, I'd have done further, even more. So this is what we do. This is what kerning is. Now, kerning is a lot of manual work, and we're going to have a look at some solutions to how we do a little bit better. One solution to a little bit better is we can highlight all this text, and we can choose, instead of metrics here, we can choose optical. And here in design, we'll try to kern on the fly. And as you can see, it does not a bad job. Again, I might want a little bit more here, maybe a smidgen more here, but on the whole, using optical kerning can be very, very effective. Let's look at some real examples of what can actually happen. And it's going to make a new paragraph style just for this. I'm going to call it body, because I'm boring. And I'm going to choose, just for the moment, the font Minion. Okay, and I can make sure the kerning is, of course, metrics. Okay, and that should be fine for the moment. I'm just going to type some text. I obviously have some text prepared, and we're going to type the word proof. And as we can see, it looks fine. But not all fonts look fine. For example, I might change the font to, let's say, Bembo Standard Regular. And as you can see, we have a problem between the F and the closed parenthesis. Another problem that happens, usually more often than that, is when we have, let's say, a single quote followed by a double quote. Let's say we do this now in Minion. And as you can see, the standard for Minion, the space between the single quote and the double quote is not so great. And this was in the same font. In other words, there's no real reason why, when they manufactured Minion, they couldn't have programmed that kerning to be a bit better. But even if they had done it better or differently, might not have been your personal preference. The real problem, though, the first real problem we're going to get now is, though, which can't be programmed into the font, is now I've got here some text. This is proof of theory. It's made up sentence. And if you look here, the spacing here, I'm going to change the font now to one of my favourite fonts, Arno Pro Regular. And as you can see here, the spacing is fine, but because of this capital T, it's a little bit close to the top of the F. So we really need to kern between what there? We want to kern after the space, before the T, when it comes after an F. So that's a bit trickier to take care of. So we can do that. I'm going to now undo that. But when it really gets tricky is what happens if we take this word up here, proof, and then we italicize the word proof. The parentheses are not in italics. We could have done the same thing here with a question mark. And we've got it now overlapping. I'm going to switch to my favourite font Arno and see if anything's better. So italicize the F. Not quite as bad, but it's still pretty close. It's still not great. So we need to solve this. And again, we can solve this by taking the character panel, and we can either increase the kerning by clicking here, which is one way, slow, or we can use our keyboard shortcuts, Control Alt, right arrow. I think on the Mac it's Command Shift right arrow. We Command something right arrow. And we can alter it. But if you've got a big book of a few hundred pages, which most books are, we're going to need a better system. And, you know, highlighting the whole document and doing optical kerning, it doesn't always solve the problem. Here it doesn't really solve it so brilliantly, honestly, and it doesn't give you any control over it. And particularly if what you want to do is not necessarily, I'll go back to the example of the double quotes. Let's go to Minion, where I personally find them to be too close, and Arno I find them to be fine. But let's say if I now make this to be optical kerning, that hasn't made the single quote followed by the double quotes what we want it to be. We want to control it the way that we like it. Now again, you could put a hair space in that might solve the problem, but again, that's not giving you control. So how do we solve the problem? So what I've done over the years is I've been using a piece of software. It's a free script by Peter Carell. It's donationware, and I very strongly recommend you donate. And what this allows you to do is it allows you to build a list of kerning pairs for really any fonts you want. So for example, if I open up Arno Pro over here, then what you can see is that we've got the ability to kern not just between, let's say, an open, that's actually, those are primes, and a quote and a number. You can also, we also have the ability to use grep. This is a grep. And we can also put a space here. So if we take the example of this is proof of theory, okay, and I run the script, I have a shortcut for running it, okay, it's going to add the space, extra space here, and it's added now, if you can see, it's added here 50, okay, and if I now take this and I run my kerning script, okay, this is on Minion. Now if you can see with Minion, we haven't dealt with the F and the italic. So how would we do that, okay? So here I've opened up Arno Current, that's not Arno Pro, that's not going to help, so let's now open up Minion Pro. Okay, now he actually gives you a base starting point with Minion. Okay, but all I want to do here is nothing too sophisticated. I want to take an italic F followed by a question mark, and I want to put in, let's see if 80 would do the trick. No, let's see 150. So I want to do 150. Okay, so I'm gonna reset that to metrics. Okay, and now I go into here, you'll see how easy this is. So all I have to do, the hardest bit is to find the text, right? So we have now italic. I'm looking for italic followed by regular. Here we go. And all I need to do here is type F question mark, literally, and then type the amount that I want it to be. So I'll start with 150. Let's see what it looks like. And I press save. I run the script. As you can see, it's fixed. Those of you who are eagle-eyed will realise I've actually made a typo, and I wrote, I forgot to do this backslash, so InDesign made a mistake. And that's basically how we do it. So if I have a very large, and I can just change this now to Arno, for example, Arno regular, okay, different font, and I have a kerning script. Each font, I don't know if you notice the kerning is different. Make this italic, and then I just highlight this, and I can run my script, and everything is kerned the way that I like it, the spacing the way that I like it. I hope you very much enjoyed this video, understood a little bit about what kerning is all about, and how we perfectly set type. If you have any questions, in the comments below. If you want Peter Carell's script, Carell spelled K-A-H-R-E-L. I'm Raphael Freeman from Running Our Typesetting, runningourtype.com. Hope to see you in the next video.